A memorial service was held at the Cathedral Church of St. Mary the Virgin in Gqeberha earlier. Words of support were delivered by Nelson Mandela Bay Mayor Eugene Johnson, among others. SABC News reporter Nqonji is there. Let's cross live to her. Very good afternoon to you, Anda. Just take us through what's happening.
Well, a very good afternoon to you too. It has indeed been quite a delightful yet emotional service as the life of Archbishop Desmond Tutu was celebrated here in the Anglican Church of Southern Africa. A number of people took turns to talk fondly of the man whom they described as godly. One of the things that came up often as the speakers went to speak is the issue of his peacefulness, saying that he was a peacemaker, saying that he was very compassionate and very loving of people, and that he was very fierce and determined to fight for the human rights and to protect all civilians. Well, we have seen a similar occasion yesterday as Gqeberha also commemorated or rather celebrated his life. A lot of people describing him as a strong-willed man, who would stand for the truth. It didn't matter what it meant or how it would affect, other people, as long as it was the truth. But right now I'm going to speak to Miss Jane Cohen, who is the priest here at this specific church. A very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Anda.
Let's first talk about the role Archbishop Desmond Tutu played in your line of work.
In my line of work, I'm a chaplain of social justice in the Diocese of Port Elizabeth, which extends quite far across the Eastern Cape. And for me, Arch is very much my inspiration and my source of strength too. A lot of the work that I do in the field is with people who display very antisocial behaviours, a lot of aggression, sometimes violence. But Archbishop Desmond Tutu taught that one always separates the person from the behaviour, and that the challenge, I think, for us in South Africa with our high crime rate is to understand that behaviour comes from a place of pain. And Archbishop Desmond Tutu always said that he's never ever come across violence that does not come from a place of pain and suffering if you bring it down to its full understanding. And that helps me enormously in my work because one of the other things that he said was that there can be no reconciliation without forgiveness. There cannot without love. And it might sound a very soft word. Love is very scary. Love is you have to be brave. You sometimes have to stand up and be counted. And he was this wonderful combination of absolutely gentle and absolutely brave, and tireless when it came to standing up for what he believed in. And I draw a lot of strength from that. In addition to my own personal take, my understanding is that Bishop Desmond Tutu never felt that he was isolated. He always joined hands with like-minded organizations and like-minded people, no matter what faith that they came from. And his friendship with the Dalai Lama informs that he found people who were like-minded to share, to carry the baton and to shine the light. He didn't stay in his little silo. Although, of course, for us, he's the icon in the Anglican Church. He became an icon for the nation. And I think, for me, that is very powerful. He unites people across the board. And I think that's a role that the Church needs to do more of. We shouldn't be afraid to cut across the boundaries of interfaith and ecumenism. And yes, for me, he's an inspiration in that regard.
And talking about now values, what values do you think the youth of today and also the leaders and prospective leaders could actually take from a man like Arch?
For me, humility. Humility is not about being a doormat. Humility comes from an understanding that each person is created equal in the eyes of God, created in God's image, and that to be a perfect human being, we need to emulate the Christ, Jesus the Christ, who walked the earth. And it gives me a lot of strength in the work that I do, that no matter what the person looks like, you look past that, you look past the anger, or you look past the outer package, and you see there the creation that God made, which was perfect. And as Mandela said, no one is born hating. We learn to hate. And that's part of my call. My vocation is very much founded on that.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Anda.
Well, that was Reverend James Cohen reiterating basically on what has been said, or echoing on the fact that, Archbishop Desmond Tutu was a peaceful person. He was forgiving. He was loving. He saw past everything, and he would find an explanation for everything, all in the name of humanity and making sure that people love each other and that they stay together. Well, we have seen a number of people today come out and celebrating his life. A number of them saying that they're actually excited to be here, because rather than mourning and grieving, they are full of celebration, as the man has left a legacy that he can rest proud of. But right now, from myself and Nqonji and colleague Natasha Makundulu, it's back to you in studio.